Today, we're going to be talking about something we've never really talked about here on the podcast. I have an expert coming in on brain health. This is a little bit of dare I say, newer field, but a lot of research around this really just isn't very mainstream. And so she is going to be coming on and talking about what does brain health mean, the importance of it. And one of the big takeaways I really want you guys to get from today is that this is something we can be working on every single day. We can improve the health of our brain, even if we're overwhelmed, even if we're stressed out. And it isn't going to take you needing to find 3 hours a day to actually make progress on this. You can actually integrate it in with everyday living. So I'm really excited for you to learn from our guest here today. And then I want you to follow up with me and let me know what change are you putting in place to improve your brain health. Let's go ahead and jump in. Hey everyone, welcome back to Work Life Harmony. I have a brand new guest for you today that I know you're going to love. Holly, I'm going to have you introduce yourself in just a minute and give us some background here. But today we're really going to be diving into the importance of brain health. And from everything I've learned through you, Holly, is I had no idea just how much really good brain health can impact my entire life, help make me less overwhelmed, all of that. So welcome to the show. I would love it if you would introduce yourself and tell everyone your incredible background.
I am Dr. Holly Bardutz, and I am a full-time brain researcher at the University of Regina, Saskatchewan, which right now Chapel Roan has made a bit famous if you've been a follower of her. She's a singer. So talks about my province. So that's where I'm from. I work at the University of Regina, full-time brain researcher. And what I'm on here about is because I have started getting the word out to the public about brain health. And yes, little things that you can do to improve your brain starting now.
I love that. So let's kick things off by first framing what is brain health, right? Because even when I first read it, I'm like, well, what exactly does that mean?
I divide it into three things. First is mental health. So it's depression, anxiety, even motivating yourself, that kind of thing. And another part of it is what people usually think of, and that is cognitive health. So when people think about brain health, they start thinking about dementia and people lose their memory. So brain health is also thinking ability, and the last part of brain health that people don't know that much about, it seems, is building brain reserve. So that is that you can improve your brain starting now with just baby steps to build a better future for yourself. Just like we should be putting away money for our future if you get a leaky roof, which right now I have.
Oh,
But you can also put away brain cells. You can make new brain cells your whole entire life. And people didn't know that before. So if you continually make new brain cells and rewire your brain, because your brain is constantly rewiring, you can make a more robust brain network. And that's another part of brain health, is just building your brain up for the future.
I'm thinking for our listeners here, we have a lot of, women that are in a season of life where they're dealing with a lot of overwhelm, a lot of stress, a lot of the, feeling like you're racing through the day, collapsing into bed at night. How does that kind of state of living, because I think most everyone has experienced that at some point in their life, what does that ultimately do to our brain health?
It could be just fine. A lot of
Okay.
people think when we're talking about stress,
Mhm.
I used to think stress bad, kind of the same kind of
Right.
thing. But not all stress is bad. You need some stress. If you look at the opposite of stress, which is a person who has no stress. Now, I want you to imagine a person in a nursing home, plunked in front of a TV, but not actually even watching the TV. So just sitting there, meals are brought to them. That is not enough stress in their life to
Interesting.
be able to function well. So we need stress. This is a good thing. But what we need to do is to purposely take a break from stress. So we can all do that. We're not just rats in a cage who get little pings in us or something. We have some control, and no one can control what goes on in your mind, what goes on in your brain. So even when you get in your car, you can just take a few minutes and just relax and breathe. And that takes a break from the stress. So again, it's not stress itself that's bad, it's chronic stress or too high too often that's bad. But a little bit of stress is actually a good thing. And it's also very much the way you reframe it, what you tell yourself about it. If you tell yourself stress is bad, then that's not a good thing. But if you say, "Hey, this is kind of exciting. This is actually good for me," those positive words will change your brain to make it, "This is a good thing for me."
I still have stressful days, of course, everybody does. So I love that I'm kinda now I can think, "Oh, actually, this is good. I'm exercising my brain a little bit,"
Yes,
maybe
yes.
instead of just being in a state of panic about the stress.
Right.
So you often say, "You make your brain, then your brain makes you." What do you mean by that?
So you make your brain and your brain makes you is that there's so many little tiny things that you can do throughout your day. It's not going to take an hour a day, anything like that. Just little things to improve your brain health that in the end, your brain will be a better brain than it would have been if you hadn't have done those things. So if you learn how to take care of your brain, all the little lifestyle factors, which I can get into, and I certainly haven't yet, but you can make a better brain for your future. And then your brain will automatically run on those programs that you give it.
I was always under the impression that your brain is your brain, and the older we get, it's going to deteriorate, whether it's cognitive or whether it, relates to I'm sure other women have done I just walked into the room to get something, and as soon as I get there, I can't remember why I'm there, that kind of whether it's brain fog, mom brain, whatever people wanna call it, but that it was just a part of life. Your brain is gonna deteriorate, my memory is gonna get worse, and that this is just something that we need to accept. But I believe that you are saying that does not have to be the case. Is that true?
That does not have to be the case. That is so true, and that is what I want to jump on the rooftops and tell everyone. You do make new brain cells your whole entire life. And when
Okay.
I was a university student, we were told that that doesn't happen and you have the most potential when you're a kid.
Yes.
And maybe that's true, but you can still make new brain cells. I'm a researcher, so I base everything I'm saying on the research. They have taken old people in nursing homes who are even in wheelchairs, and they can still make new brain cells. And there's two
Okay.
steps to do it. One is to aerobically exercise, meaning bring in extra oxygen. We know 30, 20 minutes, even going for a walk, is enough to start that process 3 times a week. And then cognitively challenge yourself. So, what I mean by that is don't just do the same things every day, but just tell your brain that we're going to make new brain cells and we need to make new brain cells because we're still interested in being alert and learning things, and then you will make new brain cells. So as long as you do those things, and those are very easy to do for all of us, then you will make new brain cells your whole entire life. And
That's
even if
exciting.
it is, it really is. And even if people on here are worried about Alzheimer's because it's in your family. So if you have the genetics for Alzheimer's from one, say your mom, and you would have, and you even tested if you have the genetics, and you can test now, and you do, so that you only have 30% chance of getting it. 70% chance is lifestyle things. Even if mom and
Wow.
dad both had Alzheimer's and you happen to be unlucky and genetically inherited both genes from both of them, which you might not even get, but if you did, then you'd have 60% chance of getting Alzheimer's. But if you do the lifestyle things that researchers know, and the word is getting out there, that we teach, if you do that, you are reducing your chances by 30%. So even if you
Wow.
had just your mom, you saw her and you, I don't want to have that. You can do something about it by these things that we can talk about, and then you're reducing your chances. And it is a chances game because I can't guarantee, hey, you
Of
take
course.
this
Yeah.
series of classes, you do these things, you'll never get it, but you might not. And I mean, you're reducing your chances. You're doing everything that you can do. So
So
so it's
let's
very
dive
very
into
exciting.
some of
Yeah.
these. What are these lifestyle things that we can do to really support good brain health?
There's 5 main ones and then there's little
Okay.
ones. And the 5 main ones are stress, and again, stress, just managing it. Again, you want some, you need some, and we all have some in our
Yes.
stage of life. That's not the problem. But you just need to take a break from it regularly And you're actually going to be building a better brain, a more resilient brain. It honestly is a good thing. Stress is good. Secondly, nutrition. And nutrition is really important. It's what we want to get away from. It's just kind of what we know anyway, which is eat a really good, healthy diet. And they're talking more and more now about the microbiome, and you want a
Mhm.
diverse diet to build your microbiome, which is actually called the second brain. So you want to have a good diet, stay away from
Now
too
that's
much
in the
processed
gut,
foods.
right? The
Yeah, yeah,
microbiome? Okay, so
yes,
there's a connection with gut and brain then.
yes,
Interesting.
yes. I'm
Okay,
actually giving a
fascinating.
talk in October to nurses, an international or national conference on microbiome and the brain. But anyway, so diet is another one. So we talked about stress, diet, socialization. We need to be in a community. And I don't think with this particular group it's a problem. But imagine that you're talking to older people who live in on a farm and live by themselves. We need to bring them back into a community so they feel connected. So socialization is important. Diet, sleep is really important.
I love
Now,
sleep.
oh, good. I was going to say, don't
That's my
stress out. Yeah.
favorite.
Okay. When you sleep, your brain cleans itself, and it cleans
Mm.
itself of some of the plaque that can accumulate that would cause
Oh,
Alzheimer's
like
disease.
actual physical cleaning.
Physical changes in your
Interesting.
brain.
Okay.
Yeah. And it also that's when you take your memories of the day and store them and restore them and refile them and decide what's worth keeping and what isn't. For example, last say 2 weeks ago on a Thursday, do you remember what socks you wore?
Okay. Oh,
It doesn't matter. So at night, your brain
right.
decides it doesn't matter what socks you wore. But if you met a new neighbor, you might want to remember that person's name. So your brain is going to decide what's important and what isn't. And it also regulates your hormones and all kinds of things when you're sleeping. And there's one other one. I wrote them down so I didn't forget: socialization, stress, exercise, nutrition, sleep, exercise, stress, and socialization. Did I cover them all then?
Yeah, I think we got them all.
Okay. Okay, that's it. Yes.
If someone's listening is like, "Oh my gosh, one more thing, I'm already tapped out." What are some really simple, quick wins that somebody who's feeling like adding one more thing to my list feels too much right now? What are ways that they could just bring this naturally into everyday living?
This is the best part of this whole new area of research and getting the word out to the public. It's easy. It's little lifestyle things that you can do every day. It doesn't even take a minute more time. For example, with the cognitive challenging, which is means do different things. Brush
Mhm.
your teeth tonight with your non-dominant hand. It's as simple as that.
Oh, interesting.
Just get
Okay.
out of the same thing. Your brain says, this is what I do. Anything that you're doing on automatic pilot is great, but we want to change it up for your brain to say, oh, hey, wait, this is different. Stand on your foot, like one foot, again, when you're brushing your teeth, on the phone, in the car, we're driving anyway. Some of us have longer commutes than others. And in that time, if you're really tired, don't even worry about it. Just go home, get whatever you need.
Right.
But if you're in that space, listen to a different radio station, listen to a different language radio station. When you're walking or even exercising, doing anything like that, you can even say, hey, I took French when I was, in elementary school. What do I even remember? Can I count to
Mm.
10 in French? So anything like that. So you're cognitively challenging yourself. Go to movies. So brain health is fun. Someone asked me this week, how do we motivate ourselves? It's like, brain health is fun things. If there's something you want to do it. Like Megan, you play the cello.
I was gonna bring that up. I've heard people say that
Okay.
learning an instrument when you're older is actually really, really good for the brain, and
Yeah.
so I was gonna ask you, I was like, it sounds like there is validity in that.
Learning an instrument is excellent for the brain
Okay.
because you're learning. There's the part of your hands that's related to your brain. It's in the motor cortex. There's a big section. So whenever you're doing anything with your hands, like playing the cello, playing the flute, playing the piano, you're really doing a big part of your brain is getting involved. And again, both sides of your body. Is
Right.
that really good? You're reading music, you're listening to music. If you're playing in a band, you're not in a band yet, but you wait.
Yeah, we'll see.
Anyway, you also have to pay attention to the conductor, to the other people.
Right.
Instruments are excellent, but that's not, you don't have to do an instrument. You could
Right.
learn if you
Well,
want to
even when
take
you were
on.
talking about hands, I'm
Yeah, yeah.
thinking
Or
knitting or crocheting
knitting,
or
crochet.
gardening or something like that as
All
well.
that is excellent. So follow your interests. Don't do something that you think you should do. If you don't like to do it, you actually don't get the same benefit as if you do like it.
Interesting.
And I
Okay.
also want to say, people often think you have to do Sudoku or crosswords,
I
and
was
that's
gonna say.
fine. But there's much more than that. If you just do Sudoku or crosswords, you will get great at that, and that's good. I'm not saying stop doing that, but brain health is also just doing so many more things than just that. It's anything. Another very good thing is dancing, because then you
Mm,
have to listen to the music, watch your steps, learn a new step, watch your partner if it's like that kind of a dance, line dancing, anything like that. But really follow your heart and have fun. So brain health is almost not a, oh, I have to. It's a,
right.
I kind of want to do this anyway. And Holly would say, this is probably good for my brain. Do you want to go out for coffee with a friend? Go for your brain.
And now we can all start using that in our
See?
planning. Well, I have to
Yeah.
take that time because it's good for my brain.
Yes.
So this is something that we can, as we are getting older, we can actually improve the health of our brain. Is that a
Yes.
valid statement?
Yes, the
Okay.
idea of getting older means your brain is going to go downhill is not fact. It does not have to
Okay.
happen. That is just not true. You can get better and better. So when people are getting into retirement stage, semi-retirement, that's really when you can start making a big difference for your future. And out of interest, the biggest time when I talked about brain reserve, making new brain cells, and the biggest time to have the best brain in your future is actually when you're in your 30s and 40s. So
I
people,
missed it.
no, you didn't. You're fine though, because
Okay. All right.
and now this is what the researchers, I go to conferences internationally, and researchers looked at demographically. We have a lot of
Mhm.
people who get old at the same time, right? So we started looking at demographically, how can we make a difference in our whole population? And it's not just Canada or the US, Japan, all over the place. There's an old aging population. So they looked at when can we make the biggest bang for our buck, and it's when you're in your 30s and 40s. That's
Okay.
how we have to get the word out there. But the second best
And
time
is
is,
that building up reserves that you were talking
yeah,
about is by doing good
yes,
brain health in our 30s and 40s?
yes. The
Okay.
second best time is now, because
There.
now you can still make new brain cells. You can still, and it's a very hopeful and inspiring message that I love to give, so that your brain can be better 2 years from now than it is today. And that's based on the research. There's one other thing I really feel like I should tell this group,
Yeah. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
that is sleep. If I've stressed anyone out, like at the end of my classes or the events, people are more inspired rather than, oh
Mhm.
shoot, I'm not 30 anymore. But
Right.
no, 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 no. Come. Because even if you don't sleep properly, people are saying, I'm a terrible sleeper. I am so doomed. What can I do? It's okay, because there's two parts of sleep. One is quality, one is quantity. So I might sleep. Megan's a good sleeper, right? You said, Megan, you
I
love to
am.
sleep.
Yes, I do.
Okay. So she sleeps for a long time and she thinks I got that cased. But there's two parts, quality and quantity. And your brain is so amazing. And that's why I love my work. If you don't get a good amount of sleep, you're just not a good sleeper, you have a baby who's waking you up 6 times a night, a sick kid, you're fine, because your brain will automatically dive into what it needs. There's different
Okay.
cycles in the brain, and in sleep, there's deep, REM, and light. And if you're needing REM, your brain is going to dive into the REM. If you're needing deep, your brain is going to spend more time in deep. I liken it to, and we've all been there, you're at your house and dishes are all over and your house is a mess, and your perfect sister-in-law is coming over and says, hey, I'm just dropping by, I'm going to bring in a pie and I'll stay for coffee. And you're looking like you're horrified
No,
because
no. Yeah.
her house is perfect and her house is perfect and your house isn't. So what do? You don't do the deep cleaning at that point. You throw everything into the dishwasher and you do what you can because someone's coming. Your brain does the same thing. And then when you have more
Interesting.
time in the cleaning mode, you might say, okay, I have a whole weekend now. I'm going to really do a deep cleaning of this room, pull back the couch, get behind there with the vacuum. So you do what you need to do in cleaning. Your brain is better than that at this. So
Mhm.
it's
Very
amazing.
cool.
Isn't it exciting?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
really
And
cool.
there's so much parallel to even just when we think about, the quote exercise or working out, like so much research around, no, it's never too late to get healthy bones, or, like you didn't
Right.
miss the window if you weren't doing that in your 20s and 30s. You see amazing transformations of people in their 50s and 60s that are really diving into taking care of their bones, their body, all of that, that it's no wonder that, of course, there is that same ability with our brain as well, but I
I
just don't think we
yeah.
ever think about it.
Right. I have many, many stories and examples of people who weren't able to work or weren't able to stand. There's all kinds of things. And then after the classes, and they realize part of it is just knowing your brain does change, does rehabilitate constantly. It's not the same today as it was last week. And if you do these very easy to do things, your brain can be better. So I've had people who weren't able to work who went back to work part time and then full
Wow.
time. I have a person, she has an inoperable brain tumor. And for a while, she couldn't even walk or stand or anything like that because she was too dizzy.
Mm,
Well, I'm not promising this for everybody, but just one example in this case, just challenging her balance, working with the brain, knowing that your brain is constantly remolding. She can walk now, and she's even taking line dancing. So I have
oh my goodness.
tons and tons of stories like this. So the brain is very changeable, very adaptable, and you can do whatever you can do today. And you don't have to be perfect. You don't have, if
Mhm.
you want to have a McDonald's and French fries today, don't heap coals on yourself because you've just wrecked your brain. Because
Right.
no one expects you to be perfect all the time. And even if you do that, even on the special diet, there's a mind diet, which is specifically designed for brain health. They say limit it. Don't take out the French fries if that's what you love, because happiness is a part of brain health.
Right.
So do that, but try to minimize that and try to also have berries twice a week. How easy is that? Berries are really good for the brain. So it's just baby steps, baby steps. And if you
Right.
take baby steps right now, just little tiny steps, 2 years from now, you'll be in a very different place than if you wouldn't have started going that direction. That's my message.
I love that, and it's interesting
Yeah.
when you were talking about stuff that really helps our brain health. I was instantly thinking about my grandfather because he passed away 1 month shy of his 104th birthday. He was sharp as tack, like,
Yeah.
always, his entire life. And I was thinking about he would still late into his 90s get up and walk 3 miles a day, like all these things. And he loved horse races. And so he was always working his brain on the mathematical odds of the betting, and playing cards with him was always challenging as a young child because he could count card decks. And so he always could and run all the probabilities of everything. But I'm thinking all these things that he kept in his life, I'm like, oh, well, now it makes sense. While he was still so mentally sharp throughout his entire life, was, he didn't know it, but he was naturally doing all of the things that you talked about for really, really good brain health.
Yes. And there's blue zones in the whole world, which is areas where people live a long time doing very well cognitively. And yes, there
Mhm.
are common things that happen in those areas, which is the exercise and the challenging yourself and being part of a community, things like that. So
Yeah.
your
Oh,
dad was a good example. Now imagine lots of people in certain parts of the world. You could look there and say, okay, what do they do different? What do they do
right.
better? Yeah. What do they
I'm
do
already
well?
even thinking about, like, every now and then I always like to throw a loop because you get into ruts at home. When we sit down for dinner, our daughter always sits in the same chair, and then my husband
Yeah.
and myself. And every now and then I'll change it up and I'll sit down in one of their seats first, and they're like, what are we doing? It's like we're sitting in different chairs for that, and it makes
Yeah.
everybody so uncomfortable. But now
Yeah.
I can tell them, hey, we're working on our brain health tonight, so we're going to sit
Yeah.
in different places to have a different view of the kitchen while we have dinner here.
Or even try instead of fork in one hand, knife in the other, try switching
Yeah,
that up just for
switch.
fun, right?
Yeah.
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 I'd love
Yeah.
that. Yeah, you could think of all sorts of fun games you could do with doing things with your non-dominant hand and feet and all of that. This has been so helpful. Thank you so much for coming on. I love that you are pouring your heart into getting this message out there. I know you actually do, is it an 8-week course too that you teach for better brain health? Where
I
is it
do.
8 weeks
Yeah.
or 6 weeks?
Well, it's an 8-week course
8
in
week. Okay.
person. The wait list right now is 3 years long.
Oh my goodness.
So that's why I'm trying to scale it up. So I
Good.
feel passionate about it. So what I've done now is I've made an online community, and on that online community, there is an opportunity to take the full classes, 8 weeks, but also we're just doing individual events as well. I'm doing one on exercise in the brain. I just was in Italy, and
Oh,
I learned
wow.
what they're learning in Italy and Europe about brain health, and I'm bringing that in. So I'm doing another one in October on the microbiome and the brain, and doing that for nurses in person, but I'm also doing it online. So yeah, you
Well, where
just
can people come and
yeah.
find information about your upcoming events? Where's the best place for that?
I have a website. So www.bardutz, my last name, Bardutz, brainhealth.com.
Okay, perfect. And we will put that link in the show notes as well. Thank you
Good.
for sharing
Excellent.
such actionable stuff. I appreciate it so much.